The Biden administration says it expects Gaza peace talk to move forward as planned, adding it believes a ceasefire agreement is possible. Construction of Vice Presidential Palace kick off in Nusantara, capital city. Bosnian entrepreneur transforms longtime dream into reality, recreates Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night as a natural park. Hello, I'm Valerina Daniel, and you're watching Focus Today on TVRI World, live from Indonesia. Let's begin with our first report. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Monday condemned the continued loss of life from the war between Israel and Palestinian militants Hamas in the Gaza Strip and urged both sides to rejoin and conclude a ceasefire and hostage release deal, Deputy UN spokesperson Farhan Haq said.
The Secretary General condemns the continued loss of life in Gaza, including women and children, as we witness yet another devastating strike by Israel on the Al Tabayin school in Gaza City, sheltering hundreds of displaced Palestinian families with scores of fatalities amidst continued horror, displacement, and suffering in Gaza. He welcomes the mediation efforts of the United States, Egypt, and Qatar leaders, and urges both sides to rejoin negotiations and conclude the ceasefire and hostages release deal. The Secretary General reiterates his urgent appeal for an immediate ceasefire and the unconditional release of all hostages. He also again underscores the need to ensure the protection of civilians and for unimpeded and safe humanitarian access into and across Gaza. Use any UN facilities for its purposes. It's not clear whether they did so.
The Biden administration said it expects Gaza peace talk to move forward as planned, adding that it believes that a ceasefire agreement is still possible.
State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel, speaking to reporters at a briefing, said the department fully expects talks to continue and that it would continue to work with the parties involved, adding that agreement was still possible. As fighting continued, Hamas reacted skeptically to the latest round of Egyptian and Qatari brokered talks due on Thursday, saying it had seen no sign of movement from the Israeli side. The group said on Sunday that mediators must force Israel to accept a ceasefire proposal based on ideas from U.S. President Joe Biden, which Hamas had accepted, instead of pursuing further rounds of negotiations or new proposals that would provide cover for the occupation's aggression.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian as part of de-escalation efforts to ease tensions in the Middle East, the Premier's office said. Pictures shared online by 10 Downing Street showed Starmer on the phone with a caption saying he was talking to Pezeshkian. According to Sky News, which first reported the story, Starmer held a 30-minute phone call with Pezeshkian after speaking with U.S. President Joe Biden as well as with European allies. President Mahmoud Abbas arrived in Russia this evening for an official visit at the invitation of President Vladimir Putin.
Upon his arrival, he was welcomed by Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov and members of the Arab Diplomatic Corps. President Abbas is scheduled to meet with President Putin tomorrow to discuss ways to halt the ongoing Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people and facilitate the immediate delivery of humanitarian aid to the war-torn Gaza Strip. The leaders will also address bilateral relations between the two countries, exploring avenues to enhance cooperation across various fields. Additionally, President Abbas will express gratitude to Russia for its support of the Palestinian cause at both international forums and other levels. Accompanying President Abbas are Hussein al-Sheikh, Secretary of the Executive Committee of the Palestine Liberation Organization, Majid Faraj, Head of the General Intelligence Service, Magdi Kaldi, Presidential Diplomatic Advisor, and Abdul Hafiz Nofal, Palestine Ambassador to Russia.
Evacuees from Russia's Kursk region were moved to a temporary accommodation center in the Russian town of Azov. Meanwhile, an unidentified Ukrainian soldier, Sudza, a city in the region, was not under Russian control.
Tatiana Pachina, an evacuee, shared her traumatic experience of fleeing. Pachina said she just hoped her fleeing family would not get into a car accident as they rushed away at high speed. Another evacuee, Kristina Yakunicheva, also recounted their hurried escape as she said her family rushed to take their most valuable belongings in a hurry before setting off away from their home. Russia has imposed a tight security regime in the Kursk, Bryansk, and Belgorod regions, while its ally Belarus said it was bolstering its troop numbers at its border after Minsk said Ukraine had violated its airspace with drones. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian soldier said in a video released on Monday that Sudza, a city in Russia's Kursk region, was not under Russian control, and that they hadn't found Russian soldiers following a search of the city. Reuters was able to confirm the location from the building's characteristics, street layout, and trees, which match satellite, file, and street view imagery. Reuters was not able to independently
Talks to end Sudan's 16-month war between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF will move forward this week. The U.S. Special Envoy said despite little sign from either party that they seek a peaceful resolution.
Good afternoon and welcome to the U.S. mission in Geneva.
The Sudanese army has all but rejected the invitation, while the RSF has continued its costly offensives in parts of the country, despite welcoming the U.S. and Saudi initiative. Failure of efforts to bring the war to an end would exacerbate a conflict that has created the world's largest humanitarian crisis, pushing 10 million people out of their homes and creating famine-like conditions across the country. Tom Perriello, the U.S. Special Envoy to Sudan, said in Geneva, where talks are set to begin on Wednesday. The talks are the latest in several international efforts to bring an end to the war and aim to agree on a cessation of violence, broader humanitarian access, and a mechanism to monitor and ensure implementation. Perriello said on Monday that even if mediated talks between the army and the RSF are not possible, talks will move ahead with technical experts and observers, including the African Union, the UAE, and Egypt, on formulating a plan of action to present to the parties.
Relatives and friends of the pilot of the plane that crashed on Friday in Sao Paulo gathered for the wake to give a final farewell before the funeral.
The body of the 35-year-old pilot, Danilo Romano, and the other 61 victims were taken to the Legal Medicine Institute after the accident for identification, local media reported. The aviator had 10 years of flying experience. An ATR-72 turboprop plane operated by regional carrier Vopas crashed in a residential area near Sao Paulo, Brazil, killing all 62 passengers aboard. Investigators have recovered the plane's black box, containing voice recordings and flight data, with a preliminary report expected within 30 days, the head of Brazil's Aviation Accident Investigation Center, SANIPA, said on Sunday. Among the victims, there were 3 passengers with dual citizenship from Venezuela, another one from Portugal, and 22 from the southern city of Cascavel, near the border with Paraguay, according to local media.
Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency says Indonesia should be cautious of the potential impact from an earthquake originating from the Nankai megathrust in the eastern coast of Kyushu, Shikoku, and Kinki in southern Japan.
Head of the Earthquake and Tsunami Center at the Weather Agency, or BMKG, Daryono said in Jakarta, the Nankai megathrust is one of the seismic gaps with a potential earthquake source, but has not experienced a significant earthquake in decades or even hundreds of years. Currently, this zone is suspected to be accumulating stress in the Earth's crust. Historical data the agency shows that Nankai megathrust has previously generated several devastating earthquakes, such as the Ansei Nankai quake in 1854 and the Nankindo quake in 1946. Daryono said these massive earthquakes triggered tsunamis, indicating the high potential activity of the Nankai megathrust system. Historical earthquake data show this earthquake source zone is capable of producing catastrophic earthquakes with magnitudes of 8 or higher every 1 to 2 centuries. Japanese scientists believe that the Nankai has several megathrust segments which could generate an earthquake of up to 9.1 magnitude.
The National Disaster Mitigation Agency has ensured that the operation to handle forest and land fires in 6 provinces across Indonesia will run until November 2024 through weather conditions have returned to the La Nina or rainy season.
The National Disaster Mitigation Agency, or BNPB, has mapped out 6 provinces with priority operation to extinguish forest and land fires, including Riau, Jambi, South Sumatra, West Kalimantan, Central Kalimantan, and South Kalimantan. Agency spokesman Abdul Muhari said in Jakarta that the La Nina phase has generally returned since early August, as predicted earlier. In this phase, the rainfall is predicted to occur between 20 and 40% higher than the normal condition. However, Daryono said, satellite images show that hotspots are still detected in a province because the rain was not evenly distributed. If the condition is not well controlled, the fire could quickly spread. BNPB has deployed assistance such as a number of aircraft and helicopters for patrols and water bombing, and also pumping machines which have been distributed to 6 provinces.
Makumbi Samuel Musoke stood at the edge of a vast garbage dump in Uganda's capital Kampala, watching excavators dig through the mud and debris that claimed the life of his 2 grandsons. Meanwhile, an earthquake of magnitude 4.4 struck the Los Angeles area, the U.S. Geological Survey said.
Makumbi Samuel Musoke stood at a large garbage dump where excavators were searching through the debris. His 2 grandsons had died in the dump, and Musoke noted that one grandson's motorcycle had been found there, leading them to believe the bodies are still buried in the same location. The death toll from Friday's landslide at Kampala's only landfill site has risen to 22, police said on Monday, as rescue efforts continued amid challenging weather conditions. The tragedy occurred after torrential rains caused a huge mound of garbage to collapse, crushing homes on the edge of the site as residents slept. Rescue efforts have been hampered by conditions at the site. Authorities expect the death toll to rise further as the reach continues. Meanwhile, the USGS reported a 4.4 magnitude earthquake in Los Angeles. Aerial footage revealed people gathered outside buildings in the aftermath of the quake. In Pasadena, aerials also captured a water pipe burst from the site of Pasadena City Hall, with fire crews on scene. One person was also trapped in an elevator at the City Hall, but was quickly taken out, according to local media. The quake hit near the LA neighborhood of Highland Park, northeast of downtown, and was at the depth of 12.1 kilometers or 7.5 miles. The shaking was felt throughout the Los Angeles area. The Los Angeles Fire Department said it went into earthquake mode and reported that there are currently no initial reports of structural damage or injuries. A disturbance located 295 miles or 475 kilometers east-southeast of Antigua has become Tropical Storm Ernesto, the U.S. National Hurricane Center, or NHC, said Monday. The tropical storm is expected to bring tropical storm force winds and heavy rains to portions of the Leeward Islands beginning late tonight, NHC added. Tropical Storm Ernesto becomes the fifth named storm of the 2024 season. Ernesto is forecasted to move over the Leeward Islands overnight before nearing Puerto Rico tomorrow.
A satellite image shows the extensive damage caused by Greece's wildfires. Meanwhile, Greece's worst wildfire this year spread into the Athens suburbs, forcing hundreds of people to flee as it torched trees, homes, and cars and choked busy roads with smoke and ash. Paris sweltered in the summer heat as temperatures reached 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, leaving many to seek refuge by the River Seine's banks.
Temperatures were forecasted to surge to up to 38 degrees Celsius, according to Weather Service Météo France, and even surpass that number. Météo France has put the Paris region, Île-de-France, along with 44 other departments in orange alert for extreme heat, its second highest level of warning on Monday, the day after the Olympic Games drew to a close. Monday's heat stood in stark contrast to the downpour and storms in the city when the Paris Games opened 2 weeks ago. Heat waves have touched other countries in Europe in recent days, with highs soaring up to 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of Spain and Greece.
We'll be back with more news. Stay with us on Focus Today. Welcome back on Focus Today. The construction of Vice Presidential Palace, which carries the concept of Huma Betanik Umay, or Mother's Longhouse, kicked off on Monday, August 12, in Nusantara capital city in Sepaku District, North Penajam Pasir Regency, East Kalimantan.
The architect of Vice Presidential Palace, Daliana Suryawinata, explained, Huma Betang Umay comes from the language of Dayak tribe in East Kalimantan, which means mother's long house. with mothers being referred as the protector, provider, and nurturer. According to Daliana, the buildings in the new capital should take its roots from Indonesia's traditional architecture, which is known for its stilted house architecture. The concept of stilted house and longhouse are the type of house commonly found in Kalimantan, particularly in East, West, and Central Kalimantan. With the concept of Huma Betang Umay, the vice presidential palace will stand on a hilltop with massive roof structure that reflects the protective mother. The massive roof will also serve as a place to hold solar panels to meet the building's energy demand. The vice presidential palace applies the hybrid air conditioning concept that uses less energy and optimizes cross circulation. To reduce built-up heat inside the building, the palace faces the east-west axis, following the sun's movement.
Environment and Forestry Minister Siti Nurbaya said the Mentawir Nursery facility in Nusantara capital city, East Kalimantan, used around 330 billion rupiah or equivalent to $20.82 million for seedling production.
Environment and Forestry Minister Siti Nurbaya said the 330 billion rupiah fund came from two sources, with 140 billion rupiah from Public Works and Housing Ministry and the rest from private sector participation. She added that her ministry supports the Mentawir Nursery project, mainly focusing on seedling production to green the new capital. This year, the nursery have produced 6 million seedlings and almost 4 million have been distributed. The ministry is also committed to regreen Kalimantan's tropical forest and support bird ecosystem by planting various trees, from fruit trees to decorative trees. The Mentawir Nursery facility, which is 40 minutes away from Sumbu Kebangsaan Road in Nusantara, has been in operation since June 4th after being inaugurated by President Joko Widodo. The facility has Kalimantan's endemic tree seedlings such as Meranti, Kapur, Tengkawang, Ulin, Bangkirai, as well as fruit trees that will be planted in several points for animal feed.
President-elect Prabowo Subianto optimistic that Nusantara will run optimally in the next 3 years. And until today, President Joko Widodo announced the number of investments in Nusantara had reached 56.2 trillion rupiah.
President-elect Prabowo Subianto is optimistic that Nusantara Capital City, or IKN, in East Kalimantan will run optimally as the nation's capital city area in the next 3 years at the earliest. Prabowo is determined to continue the development of IKN pioneered by President Joko Widodo until all phases are complete. Despite not possessing a technical background, Prabowo affirmed that his experience in various developments in Indonesia can serve as the basis for overseeing the development of IKN until its completion. In addition to being committed to continuing IKN's development, Prabowo is also directly involved as an investor in its development and expressed optimism that he will be able to meet public expectations regarding the benefit of moving the nation's capital from Jakarta to IKN. Meanwhile, at the first plenary cabinet meeting at IKN Nusantara on Monday, President Joko Widodo stated that the number of investments in the new capital city, Nusantara, has reached 56.2 trillion rupiah or $3.4 billion, excluding the state budget utilized. He explained that 55 investors had conducted the groundbreaking at IKN, including 6 investors from the education sector, 3 investors from the health sectors, and 10 investors from retail and logistics sectors. Moreover, he noted that groundbreaking had been carried out for 8 hotels. Furthermore, 2 investors in the energy and transportation sectors, 14 investors from the offices and banking industries, 9 investors in the housing and green areas, and 3 investors from the media and technology industries also carried out groundbreaking at IKN.
President-elect Prabowo Subianto convinced the Nusantara Capital City Authority that his administration will provide a more lavish space in state budget to complete the construction of the new capital city.
Prabowo, who is also Minister of Defense, made the remarks when attending the cabinet ministers meeting led by President Joko Widodo at Garuda Palace, Nusantara Capital City in East Kalimantan. In his address, Prabowo extended gratitude to President Joko Widodo and all ministers, especially Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, for helping him prepare the 2025 state budget draft. With the support from the President and ministers, Prabowo voiced optimism to complete the construction of the new capital city even ahead of schedule. Prabowo said the core of development in the new capital city is the key branches of the government. This includes the judiciary, executive, and legislative body. It means MPR and DPR buildings, as well as the Supreme Court and the Constitutional Court buildings, will be prioritized in the next phase of development in the new capital city. Therefore, he asked the Nusantara Capital City Authority to organize a design competition for MPR or DPR buildings, as well as the MA and MK buildings, to ensure they do not conflict with the existing building designs in IKN.
On Monday, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, held a Bridge for Cities workshop with the theme Cities of Tomorrow, Collaborative Strategies for New Cities in Jakarta. The event was driven by Indonesia's efforts to actively build the IKN as a symbol of national unity.
As a center for new economic growth, IKN will be built into a green, smart, inclusive, and sustainable city. To achieve such vision, Indonesia needs to manage the growth of IKN well, so that it can truly grow and avoid urban problems such as congestion, high population, and pollution.
For the countries, if they emphasize the work in rural areas and medium-sized cities, can balance better the challenge of urbanization. Because the traditional way of let's grow the cities and the rural areas, people live from rural areas because no possibility of generating jobs, generating opportunities. So the new balance will be emphasizing local identities, local landscapes, local nature, food production, water, energy. I think this new balance of urbanization will avoid the rapid growth of metropolitan areas. That traditionally the cities grow because they have competitive advantage. They have advantages of living together, of urbanization. But when the city grows very big, we have disadvantages.
To realize it, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and United Nations Industrial Development Organization held a Bridge for Cities workshop on Monday, with UNIDO as a UN agency that focuses on increasing sustainable industrial capacity. The workshop focused on 3 main issues of urban development, namely economic growth, environmentally friendly development, and innovative financing. The cooperation between Ministry of Foreign Affairs and UNIDO in the workshop can be a strategic start that can open up further, real, and impactful collaboration, both in the development of IKN and joint efforts to overcome challenges of urbanization.
Representative of United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, for Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Marco Camilla, at the Bridge for Cities, Cities of Tomorrow event held on August 12, said IKN has the chance of becoming the first integrated forest garden city in the world.
Speaking at the Bridge for Cities, Cities of Tomorrow event held Monday, Marco Camia said currently there is an opportunity to build a city that fully integrates forests, parks, and the urban environment. No one has ever achieved that before, Camia added.
There is an opportunity to build something that everybody wants to build, wants to design. That is integrating the forest, integrating the jungle with the urban setting. So nobody has done this. Nobody. I will say that maybe in Singapore or in Amsterdam, you have buildings that have vertical gardens, but nobody has built until now. Has been able to integrate forest and urban settings. So this is opportunity to do it. No? That if nobody has done, that doesn't mean that it's impossible. What it means is that it's a big opportunity for Indonesia to be a template for future developments, because it is not possible for future cities to disregard the rural areas or of the forest. They have to build something that is.
Although cities like Singapore and Amsterdam combined parks with buildings, he continued, no city succeeded in integrating the entire forest into an urban environment. Such conditions becomes an opportunity for Indonesia to set a new standard for future development. IKN will be an innovative example in city management and governance. This approach aims to strengthen Indonesia's position as a leader in sustainable development and modern and efficient urban governance.
The Jakarta chapter of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry Kadin Jakarta is committed to supporting business owners in Jakarta after the city is no longer being the capital of the country.
The Jakarta chapter of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry Kadin Jakarta announced its new chairperson Diana Dewi for the 2024 to 2029 term. In her speech, Diana said business owners in Jakarta should stay optimistic and seek opportunities to grow, although the city will be no longer Indonesia's new capital city. Diana explains that Kadin Jakarta focuses on creating strong and adaptive business ecosystem. The goal is to maintain Jakarta's strength at the center of business, even though Indonesia now has Nusantara in East Kalimantan as a new capital city. Diana emphasizes the importance of collaboration with the government to create regulations which facilitate economic growth in Jakarta after no longer being a capital city. As part of the efforts, Kadin Jakarta will be proactive in providing platforms for business owners to change ideas and solutions, to answer current and future challenges, and this platform will be based on inclusive and collaborative approach for all types of businesses.
Diana Dewi has been re-elected as the chairwoman of the Jakarta chapter of Indonesia Chamber of Commerce and Industry for 2024-2029 term.
In her speech following her re-election, Kadin Jakarta chairwoman Diana Dewi said that she aimed to strengthen the role of Kadin as an inclusive and collaborative platform for business owners in Jakarta. In the next 5 years, Diana aspires to build Kadin as a house which represents business people from various fields in Jakarta.
Saya bersyukur ternyata malam ini diamanahkan kembali menjadi Ketua Umum Kadin DKI Jakarta periode 2024-2029. Ini bukan hanya keberhasilan saya, tetapi adalah keberhasilan sahabat-sahabat, khususnya media juga ikut berkontribusi dalam saya diamanahkan. Dan juga kepada teman-teman sekretariat di Kadin DKI Jakarta. Harapannya pada saat nanti 5 tahun kepengurusan Kadin DKI Jakarta yang saya lanjutkan akan memberikan manfaat baik untuk anggota, pengurus, maupun masyarakat pada umumnya.
Kadin Jakarta is committed to accommodating all types of businesses and work with the government in answering current and future challenges. Diana emphasizes the importance of collaboration of business owners to find solutions and support the government to acknowledge the aspiration of business owners into its policy and regulation.
ASEAN Day 2024 marked the 57th anniversary of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations with a vibrant celebration at the Indonesian Consulate General in Melbourne.
The event team Strengthening ASEAN Business and Economic Innovation brought together diplomats, students, and business leaders who shared insights on the region's economic future. The day featured cultural performances including a lively Gemu Famire dance and traditional attire representing ASEAN's rich diversity. Youth leaders from Indonesia, the Philippines, and Malaysia presented on various topics, from innovative waste management in Java to the role of youth in driving change and the opportunities available in Melbourne's business sector. Their presentation highlighted the importance of sustainability, collaboration, and preserving cultural heritage in ASEAN's future. Prominent business figures also shared their journeys, offering advice to aspiring entrepreneurs. Natalia Slamet discussed overcoming challenges in male-dominated industry, while Francisco from Malaysia emphasized perseverance and strategic planning in his rise from financial hardship to success in real estate. A key proposal at the event was the establishment of an ASEAN Student Association in Melbourne, aimed at fostering collaboration and cultural exchange among ASEAN students in Australia. The idea received strong support from the Consul Generals, who recognized its potentials to enhance the ASEAN's community presence and unity in Australia. The celebration concluded with a feast of traditional ASEAN dishes, symbolizing the region's shared culinary heritage.
Commuter line operator in Greater Jakarta area, KAI Commuter Indonesia, said that it expected to see more than 1.1 million passengers per day for this year.
Speaking at the launch of multi-trip card BT21 edition at BNI City Station in Jakarta, VP Corporate Secretary KAI Commuter Indonesia or KCI, Joni Martinus said that the company is optimistic to reach the target because the rail operator has already more than 1.1 million passengers before pandemic. The company once experienced a decline in the number of passengers due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Johnny, if more people use the commuter line, it will help reduce traffic congestion because many people switch to public transport, as they do not use private vehicles. Therefore, KCI is committed to continuously improving services for passengers. On Monday, KCI just launched a special edition BT21 multi-trip card targeting millennial users, especially those who are fans of BT21. BT21 is a character born from a collaborative project between Line France and Korean group star BTS.
Stay with us on Focus today. We'll be back after the break. Thank you for staying with us on Focus today. Chairman and Chief Technology Officer Elon Musk initially announced X would move its headquarters from San Francisco to Austin, Texas in a July 16 tweet.
Social media titan X, formerly Twitter, is moving its headquarters out of San Francisco. Chairman and Chief Technology Officer Elon Musk initially announced X would move its headquarters to Austin, Texas in a July 16 tweet.
No, I like Elon Musk on X, and I think he's doing a great job, and I'm glad he bought it and cleared the place out. It's time to move on.
I think that it is sad though, because it's a staple. Like I walk through and it makes me feel proud that like I'm in a city that the X building is in. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I walk and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, like I'm here. And I'm actually from New Jersey too, so it's kind of like a cool thing. Whenever I'm walking around and I'm here, it's a reminder of how far I've come and how blessed I am to be in like cool places and such an important, pillar in our society today.
But according to a media report, a recent email by ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino announced to workers the company would instead be relocating its San Francisco-based employees to offices in Palo Alto and San Jose.
Donald Trump's upcoming interview with Elon Musk on X, the social media platform owned by billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk, was halted due to technical issues. The site showed the page was not available shortly after the scheduled start time of 8 p.m. Eastern Time for many users. As of 8:20 p.m., the page listed about 214,000 participants, though the event had not yet started, presumably due to technical problems. Trump returned to X, formerly known as Twitter, on Monday morning for the first time in a year, posting a video highlighting his claim without evidence that the 4 criminal prosecutions he faces are politically motivated. Banksy revealed his 8th recent animal-themed artwork in London. The artwork of a rhino appeared spray-painted on a wall in Charlton, London, behind a parked car and skip.
Previous animal-themed pieces featured a goat, 2 elephants, 3 monkeys, 1 wolf, and 2 birds catching fish. The rhino artwork has appeared in a post without captions on the artist's Instagram account, inviting personal interpretations. Theories swirled on social media as to the meaning of the works, by an artist who has highlighted themes such as war and climate change in his previous work. Some speculated they could be related to the riots and racist attacks that have swept the country in the past week. Others to the idea that humanity is seeding its own downfall.
Amidst the rolling hills of central Bosnia, entrepreneur Halim Zukic transformed his long-time dream into reality, recreating Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night as a natural park.
After purchasing 2 hectares of land 20 years ago, Zukic expanded the property to 70 hectares without a clear vision. 6 years ago, inspired by the spiral-shaped tractor tracks, he decided to develop a Starry Night theme park, a moment he said defined the rest of his life. Zukic's park comprises some 130 lavender bushes and other aromatic herbs, creating colorful circles and spirals across 10 hectares. Painted in 1889 while Van Gogh was staying at Saint Paul de Mazoul Asylum near Saint Remy, France, the Starry Night now stays at New York's Museum of Modern Art, MoMA. MoMA says the work heralded modern painting's new embrace of mood, expression, symbol, and sentiment.
A Colombian shopping mall created a marine flora artwork using 180,000 flowers that delighted locals and tourists. Meanwhile, Colombian floristry artisans known as sileteros carried heavy flower arrangements on their backs to wow the attendees of the 2024 edition of the Sileteros Parade.
Centro Commercial Santa Fe Medellin, in the 13th edition of its emblematic flower carpet, created the masterpiece focusing on environmental awareness and marine life. The central figure is a seahorse 11 meters high, suspended 13 meters above the ground, and decorated with elements that simulate marine flora. The seahorse is surrounded by a carpet of 25,000 plants or 180,000 natural flowers that recreate marine ecosystem according to the mall. The work has become a tourist attraction for those who visit the city on the occasion of the flower fair, was culminated on Sunday, August 11th. with a parade. Meanwhile, although the beginning of the parade was marked by rain, none of the attendees moved from their place until the clouds cleared to open the way for artisans and their beautiful flower arrangements. The festival parade puts on display siletas, or flower arrangements on large wooden frames that can weigh more than 100 kilograms. The winner for the second consecutive year in the Emblematica category was Maria Carolina Atehortua. More than 500 artisans, including adults, children, and juveniles, took part in the festival.
Olympic flag arrived in Los Angeles, U.S., where it will be flown in 2028 when City hosts next Summer Games. Details are in our sports highlights. The Airport Authority of Area 2 in Medan, North Sumatra will do more slots for flights ahead of the 21st National Games, or PON 2024, in Aceh and North Sumatra this September.
Head of Airports Authority of Area 2 in Medan, North Sumatra, Sohib Al-Rohman, said it would add more slots to accommodate flights coming to Medan ahead of the 21st National Game, or PON 2024. Additional flights are needed to anticipate early arrivals of athletes, coaches, and officials before the opening ceremony on September 8. The first tournament would be held for gymnastics at a multi-function building owned by Medan's Youth and Sport Agency in Deli Serdang Regency from August 28 to 30. Afterwards, futsal competition will take place at the agency's futsal sports arena in the same regency from August 29 to September 8. Meanwhile, water polo matches will be held at the agency's Selayang swimming pool in the city of Medan from August 30 to September 8. The opening ceremony for the 21st National Games 2024 will take place in Aceh on September 8, while North Sumatra will host the closing ceremony on September 20.
The Olympic flag arrived in Los Angeles, U.S., where it will be flown in 2028 when the city hosts the next Summer Games.
The flag arrived aboard at a Delta Airline jet carrying American athletes and officials, and painted with LA-28 and palm trees on its side. Hip-hop legend Tupac Shakur's California Love blasted on loudspeakers on tarmac at Los Angeles International Airport as the plane came to a stop. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass stepped off the plane dressed in red Team USA tracksuit, smiled broadly, and waved the Olympic flag before descending airstairs to be greeted by California Governor Gavin Newsom.
And so that handoff to me was more than just the symbolism. It's a friendship that has developed between our two cities. Much that we have to learn from them. And I think one of the things I'm the most excited about is the way they turned the Olympics in Paris to be the Olympics for everyone.
The International Olympic Committee awarded Los Angeles the right in 2017 to host the 2028 Games. It will be the third time LA has hosted the Games in the modern era, after being the host city in 1932 and 1984.
Team Serbia receives a hero's welcome at Belgrade City Hall as they return from the Paris 2024 Olympics. Serbia took 5 medals home from Paris, with Novak Djokovic winning gold in the men's single tennis tournament to complete a Golden Slam and become only the 5th player to win all 4 singles Grand Slams and the Olympic title during their careers. 3 times NBA MVP Nikola Jokic almost helped his team pull off the shock of the games on the basketball court when they narrowly lost 95-91 to the United States' so-called Dream Team in the semifinals before going on to claim the bronze medal over Germany.
svima nama pozdrav da izađemo ovde na balkon pred vas. Ovo je najlepši osjećaj koji sportista iz Srbije može da...
Atletico Madrid have signed Argentine forward Julian Alvarez from Premier League side Manchester City on a 6-year contract.
The 24-year-old Argentina international's exit marks a record sale price for City, eclipsing the £50 million Chelsea paid for winger Raheem Sterling in 2022. Alvarez joined City from Argentine club River Plate in 2022 for £14 million and has scored 36 goals in 103 appearances for manager Pep Guardiola's side. He has won the Premier League twice and the Champions League, FA Cup, Super Cup and Club World Cup all once. He also won the 2022 World Cup with Argentina and the Copa America earlier this year. Atletico manager Diego Simeone had been on the lookout for a center forward since Alvaro Morata's move to AC Milan last month.
Tom Daley, Britain's 5-time Olympics diving medalist, announced his retirement from the sport after winning silver in the men's synchronized 10-meter event at the Paris Games.
Having stepped away from the sport after the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, Daley made a return last year at the request of his older son, and his appearance in Paris made him the first British diver to compete at 5 Olympics.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's really hard to talk about. But it's, you know, I have to hang it up at some time, so yeah, I'm very proud.
Daley had won the Olympic gold medal in the men's synchronized 10-meter platform event at the Tokyo Games.
Dutch rider Charlotte Cole of Team DSM Firmenich-Poznol won the opening stage of Tour de France Femmes.
Dutch rider Charlotte Cole of Team DSM Firmenich-Poznol clinched the opening stage of Tour de France Femmes, a 123-kilometer ride from Rotterdam to The Hague in the Netherlands to take the first yellow jersey of this year's edition on Monday. Uno X Mobility's Anina Atosalo finished second ahead of Elisa Balsamo of Little Track, while Marianne Vos took the green jersey after winning the intermediate sprint at Groeneweg. Several riders were snagged by a mass crash in the peloton with a 69-kilometer to go, although none of them suffered severe injuries. Stage 2 will be a 69-kilometer ride from Dordrecht to Rotterdam.
And that ends today's news on Focus Today. I'm Valerina Daniel. Thanks for watching and goodbye.